Hello guys, welcome back to this fourth video in the series of Excel Fundamental for Data Analysis. In this video, we're going to look for various Excel features. For example, tables. How can we create a table? How can we use a table? Other things we're going to look is name range and how to create a slicer and how it makes the task easier. Let's start. This is going to be a short and a simple video. First, we're going to learn how can we create a table. To create a table, click anywhere in the data set, go to Insert Table, click OK. If you want to change the style of the table, click anywhere on the table, go on the table design, click this. Suppose here we want that it should be dark red. Table style medium 16. You can click it. Suppose I don't like this banded row. I can turn this off. I want the banded column. I can do this. I want to do some little calculation. We can turn on the total row. This gives an access to perform different arithmetic functions. Like if I want the average of this whole column, it will give me the average. If I want the sum, it will give me the sum of the column. Suppose I want the standard deviation, it will give me the standard deviation for this column. In this case, I just want the sum, that is how many leaves are available, and here we want how many sick leaves are taken. So we want sum. Let me check if my recorder is working or not. Yes, it is working. Perfect. Next, what we want is that as we can see, we had created a table. Let's see if we add new things, will the table automatically extend itself? Suppose here I want the weekly pay. For that, this is the weekly hour. I'm going to multiply it. That is weekly hour. That is the number of hours a person is working in a week. And this is hourly rate. If we multiply it, this is a very basic thing. Yes. So here we can see is that Excel itself extend these functions. So a new column is automatically created with the same styling and the same rules that I had applied to the previous table. Perfect. Here you can see in B10, we want to do the same thing. What we can do is that sum. We can use the function sum. Why it's not taking it? Sum. Okay. We're going to select this thing. Enter. Let's say if the value is same. Yeah, it's okay. Make the sum here as well. Sum. Yes, we will get the same value because the same formula is applied. It's just that here you have to write the formula in this formula bar, and here it is just the automated feature of Excel. Next, as I mentioned above, as I mentioned in the starting of the video, in the previous session, that we're going to learn what is a name range. So name range make a task easier when it comes to do calculations. Suppose I want to take these things from the name range. What I need to do is that click here, then select each row. Instead of doing this much hectic, what we can do is that we can give a name to all of the data in this row. So for that, we just need to click on department, Control Shift, down arrow. In the formulas, use, we're going to click on the function create from selection. And from the top row, okay. So it creates a name range. So whenever you want to use this whole data, you can just call the name department, and each data will be in that formula. Let me show you this with an example. If we click OK, and what we want is that I want the number of people, like the number of staff working in the accounting departments. So for that, I want total. So number, I want to count these things, like how many people are there. So I'm going to use the function countifs. The criteria should be department. So as I had created a name range for that, I am just going to click on department and the whole data will be selected. This makes the task easier. Now what I want is that I just want accounting. To copy the formula down, we're going to click this autofill function. For second, we want the total days. We're going to follow the same steps. So from the total days sick, we're just going to create a name range. Click on the days sick, control shift down arrow. Comes to formula, create from selection, enter, make sure the top row is clicked. The reason we have to check the top row is that whenever it is going to create the name range, the name for this whole value should be this one, that is the top row. Okay, so one range is created. What we're going to for this, that is for J4, what we want is that to click here, we want the total, that is we want the sum. So we're going to use the function sumifs. Click here. So the range we want here is the day sick, yes, the first one. And now, before selecting accounting, I have to mention the departments from where you have to select the accounting. So for department, as we had created a name range previously, we can just click here on department and there we want accounting. But while it copies the formula down, I want that H should be locked because the cells I need that are H4, H5, H6. So we're going to lock the H. Yes, we did it. Enter. It is showing me values. Why is the reason for that? Why? What is the reason? Oh my god. Why it is showing and what is the reason for it? I just mix both the terms. Okay. Diffuse departments. Still it is showing value. Some ifs. That is the day sick. And from department, select this thing. What is the problem with it? Let me just think about it. Some if day 6 department. What if use a function sum if? No. I'm sure that we have to use a sum ifs function, but what is the problem with it? Day 6 and the departments, we want 90. Okay. These things are some little issues here. Let me stop the recording and think what is happening here. Here we have got the answer, but I think that the problem was when we were selecting the day sick, this last column, that is total, is also selected, and that it was considering an error. So we just have to make sure that that thing is not selected. Now as I had corrected that thing, now it's okay. We will copy this formula down. We're going to do the same thing for this. Just we have to create a new name range. Let me turn off that thing which had created trouble for us. That is turn off the total row. Yes, we want it. Let me check if the recording is okay. Recording is working. Yes, we have to create a name range. Control shift down arrow. It is selected. Comes in formulas. Create from selection. Top row. Okay. Now we're going to use these things. in our formula. Okay, sum ifs, the sum range we want here is, that is, we just created leaves available, comma, we want here department, and in department we're going to do the same thing, that we want the h should be logged, so h is logged, enter. Yes, we have this thing. We will copy this formula down. Okay, now let's make this thing a table. Do this. Let's recall how we can create a table. First we have to select, or we can click anywhere in the data, but what I want here is that I want this extra row, these extra spaces. So I had just selected all this thing, then I'm going to click on insert table. This is my range. Okay, this table might look different because we can change the styling of the table. Now I'm going to make the data validation for department section. You will slowly get to know what is this thing. First, control shift down arrow. This whole thing is selected now. Now what we want is that we want to go to insert. No, so in formulas, we have data validation. No, in data, we have data. Here, this is data validation. We'll click here on data validation. We want a list, and the list that we want should be from here. That is these values. And okay. So what data validation has did is that it has created a small drop down box here. If we click on this box, we will get the list of all the departments we have. The reason why we have did is that I'm going to show that how these things are very live. So if I add marketing here, and what I do, let's do it for E15 as it is being instructed. Let's make E15 marketing. You can see the values for sales change from 15 to 14. Let's copy this down so that the same formulas that has been applied above are taken down as well. Yes, perfect. Now we have this thing. What else we want here is that let's create a slicer. To know how to create a slicer, what we have to do is that we can go on insert and slicer model. Okay, so for that, if we first click on the place in the table where we want the slicer, then we have to click slicer. In this case, I want slicer for department and for status. Okay, let's adjust the slicer so that it look good. Okay, and this. Now what we want is that, suppose we want full-time IT staff. I don't know what just happened. Suppose we want full-time IT staff. See, let's turn on the total rows. Okay, here we got these things. Is there a slicer anywhere else? And suppose we want full time, and if we want that the average hourly rate of full time IT staff, that is 91.47. So if you want to check is that if we have did everything right, then we can come here, we can write 91 0.47. Sorry for the wrong pronunciation before. Yeah, it's right. And you can see that our table is looking like this. It means we had it everything right. So this was the solution of this sheet. Thank you for being tuned. And I don't know why I have to say thank you, but thank you. I'm making this video for myself. So thank you, Anakshna Aman, for watching it.